Final Fantasy VII. Again, it's a game that I love. It's Final Fantasy VII. Really, what else is there to say about this game for a lot of people? As I said in the previous one, Final Fantasy VI is my favorite Final Fantasy. But Final Fantasy six is my favorite. 7, however, was my first Final Fantasy. Now I have kind of a weird story about how I got Final Fantasy 7 and why I never beat it for the longest time. So, again, a friend of mine got me Final Fantasy 7. I had a PS2. He found a copy of, Final Fantasy 7 on the PS1 and gave it to me. Awesome, So I played it. I played a good, decent bit. Got through Midgar, all of that good stuff. But when you go to the port city, like that bit, for whatever reason, every single time I would go in there, it would, the screen would just black out and I could never progress. Probably a faulty thing with the disc, something, I don't know. But from what I played of the game up until that point, I really enjoyed. Now, fast forward to much later, I now obviously have played Final Fantasy VII multiple times, and it's wonderful, great time every single time I play it. Characters, music, again, the world, the villain, Sephiroth is awesome. But, it's one of those things of what hasn't been said about Final Fantasy VII. It's just a good time. My favorite character, I would say, in both just in story and gameplay wise, is Red 13. He just he's just cool looking for one. 2, he's powerful. He's really good at, a lot of things. But there's just something about his whole thing just hit right for me. Of course, the other thing about Final Fantasy VII, when I played it, I of course already knew about Aerith. I knew what was gonna happen, by that point, especially when I fully played the game. By that point, I knew it was, what was gonna happen. But still, it's still a great moment, regardless, knowing it or not. But, yeah, and in terms of how I can talk about, say, the FF7 remake, I love it. I love the original, I love the remake. I love a lot of the extra works that go into FF7. Yeah, I loved Crisis. I find Crisis Core to be really cool, personally. Advent Children's interesting. Of course, there's a whole thing about Final Fantasy VII Remake being more of a sequel than a direct, but still going to be the events of 7, but, I kind of, in my opinion, I find it to be interesting if that's the case. That is the case, Because anything can happen now. That's just how I view it. It might be unpopular for some people or whatever, but how I view it, I find it's going to be a lot more interesting because who knows? Things may change. Or things may stay the same because that's how we beat Sephiroth. I don't know. We'll see. But in terms of the original, it's just great. Cloud's great character. His development from, to, and then when you start realizing that Cloud has been screwed up, yeah, that's like, oh, no wonder why he's always been kind of, because then you notice change with him when later in the game, you do notice it, but yeah, it's just such an enjoyable game from start to finish. There's not really much negative I have to say about it. Like I said, FF6 is my favorite. This is up there for me. This is up there in my favorite Final Fantasy games. But yeah, again, there's not much to say other than I love this game and the characters, the music, the world, the bosses, the themes, it's just a good time. But and I do look forward to seeing what happens going forward. I am looking forward to that a lot. And how they handle certain things and whatnot. But yeah, so, and if, again, as I've said before, if you've somehow never played Final Fantasy VII, I do recommend playing it. I do also recommend playing it before playing Remake. But if you do play Remake before, that's fine, obviously. So yeah. That's really all I'll have to say about that. So, yeah, so thank you, everyone, for watching. And as always, thank you for being awesome. And until next time.